let's see if I have you here. Okay, here we go. This is the Frog and Peach Theater Company. Try again. Okay, let's see if we can do that now. Lynnea, here you are. It still says unable to join. So, Lynnea, what I would say is if you're doing this from a computer, I don't think it's going to work. It probably has to be an iPhone or maybe an iPad, something that has camera and that you could do like a Zoom or a FaceTime or one of those kind of things with. But it's the same process. You just have to have the ability to go on. I assume that's it. I really don't know. But anyway, while we're trying that, I'll just give a couple of words about your company. So the Frog and Beach Theater Company is a company that's based here in New York City, and they do a lot of stuff. They've been doing Shakespeare for many years now. It's the two founders, and I believe the two main people in the company are Lynnea Benson, who we'll be hopefully able to chat with in a couple of minutes, and Ted Zerkowski. And I think if I understand correctly, they are both graduates of the Actors Studio, and this is a group that emerged from graduates of that school, and they have been doing productions around New York. I think their main got you on my elephant. Okay. Oh goodness. Let's see if I could try one more time. Up here you are. Okay, now I can add you. Okay, so I'll talk you up while you're connecting. Lynnea.
Hi, how are you?
We finally made it happen, Lynnea. We
Okay,
tried to
hold
have
on a second.
we
Oh,
had Lynnea on, or we almost had Lynnea on our last episode and it didn't work
hi.
out. So I'm very happy to have you here. How are you tonight, Lynnea?
Good to see you, Rodney. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself? Everything's good?
Good, good. Got no complaints.
Where are we speaking to you from tonight?
Ah, Castle Dracula, my office. Working
Okay.
hard, hardly
So,
working.
Linnea, I was while I was waiting for you to be able to join us, I was giving some of the particulars about Frog and Peach. And before we even get into the particulars about Frog and Peach, I've been curious. I'm sure it's some kind of reference to something. What is Frog and Peach all about? What does that name signify?
You know, our letters of incorporation were coming due. We had to come up with a name, and my husband Teddy was saying, "Let's call it the Shakespeariment." Well, I thought that wasn't going to work. So I happened to be reading an obituary in the New York Times for Peter Cook, a wonderful comedian, English comedian, who worked with Dudley Moore for many years. And they had a routine called The Frog and Peach, and it was about a restaurant with a very limited menu. So we thought that was just sinister enough, yet playful enough, and that's what we ran with. And
Just
that's,
mysterious enough.
yeah, yeah.
And you and your husband Ted are both graduates, I believe, of the Actors Studio, correct?
But you're not really, unfortunately, you can't really ever leave the actor studio. You're a lifetime member or you're not. You don't get to be a member of the actor studio without considerable training and a pretty good resume. And I had those things. And I got in '93. And
And
we
you've been
started
going since
fragging.
then.
Go ahead, what?
And you're still going since then.
Yes, yes. We're lifetime men, along with people like Marlon Brando, Paul Newman, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro,
Sure.
Ellen Burstyn, wonderful people. Estelle Parsons, who's a good friend. So
Oh, the
we're
Actors
good company.
Studios has comes with a very good reputation. It's one of the most best known studios in New York, if not the world. So you guys emerged from there, and then at what point did you decide to put together your company?
Well, it's funny. We when we met, we sort of found that we brought the same three books to New York together. Not together, but we didn't. We came separately. Me from Seattle, Washington, and him from
Mhm.
Connecticut, and they were the collected works of Arthur Conan Doyle, the
Mhm.
collected works of Edgar Allan Poe,
Uh-huh.
and the complete works of Shakespeare. So we had a lot in common. I discovered Shakespeare when I was about 10 years old, and I read Hamlet, and I thought, wow, this guy says things I've never heard grown-ups say before. And I
Absolutely.
was hooked. I was hooked. I came to New York to study at Barnard College. I met Teddy when I was still in college, and we've been together. We thought, well, we planned our own wedding. How hard can running a Shakespeare company be? But we were kind of distressed that Shakespeare had acquired this reputation of being for the elite, and we thought we can make a place that makes Shakespeare fun and accessible for everybody, and that's exactly what we did.
That's fantastic. So you started producing Shakespeare. So you put together your company, and did you start right away with a particular theater in the city, or did you kind of bounce around until you settled on the Sheen Center?
We bounced around. We did the wonderful theater on West 46th Street. We did a couple of presentations for their, oh, what's the name of the, I can't remember the name, but it's the theater on West 46th Street that's also a church. And then
Okay, yeah,
uh,
sure.
we went up to a place on West 86th Street, which was a disused choir loft in a church.
Mhm.
We refurbished it, rebuilt it, did every show for free. And I
Oh,
think our
wow.
first show there was, I think, Richard III. And then I directed King John, which was really our big kickoff, King John, my
And
debut.
so now the last couple of years, with the COVID situation, you guys have been running Shakespeare for several years now. I think you've had a long stay in the Sheen Center, correct?
We've been at the Sheen Center now for 4 seasons, and we were supposed to open As You Like It on April 24th, which really smarted a lot.
I'm
Of course,
sure.
we couldn't do that. It's on the back burner, but it's what we plan to return to when it's safe to do so.
And so
And
many companies, like we just spoke with Steven of New York Classical, who has transitioned to Zoom. Have you guys been planning to do any kind of Zoom productions, or are you waiting for?
we've got a lot of videos on Facebook and Vimeo with selected scenes from As You Like It. Our children's program, which is called Tinkerbell Theater, just came out with a big hit, Cinderella Goes to Therapy, which is a lot of fun, and that's available on our Facebook page too. And I think it's also available on Instagram also. So yeah, we've been working like crazy.
Isn't that great? Now, you were talking earlier from the very beginning, you were talking about taking Shakespeare that in some people's minds is something that's for stuffy and for the elite and for whatever, and you're introducing it to children. I think that's fantastic.
It's for everybody. There was a time in this country where everybody had a copy of Shakespeare lying around the house because it's fun to read. It's fun to read out loud. And I think part of
Absolutely.
the reason we get so many terrific actors to join us for our full productions and for our gala events at the Players Club and other places downtown is that actors love to do Shakespeare, and terrific actors especially love to do Shakespeare. So,
Well, the text is
we
just so rich.
sorry.
The text is just so rich and so open to
Yes.
interpretation.
Well, it's good food for these times, let me tell you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now we're coming up on the end of our hour. So what do you have coming up, Lynnea? What's next for Frog and Peach? As we're waiting for As You Like It to be able to come back.
Um, well, we have more scenes coming up from As You Like It and some other oft request things from our audience. We have such a devoted audience, and they're just really being supportive and wonderful. We've got another Tinkerbell Theater thing coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be with Jamar Brathwaite, Jonathan Reed Wexler, the fabulous David Wall, all people you probably may not have heard of, but they're known in the theater community. And the wonderful Clara Elise Walton is going to be on board as Cinderella. So tell your folks if they're jonesing for some Shakespeare, go to our Facebook page. There's a slew of wonderful things, interviews and scene studies, interviews with some of our designers who are among the best in the business.
I've seen some of your stuff, and you guys did really nice work. So absolutely, check out Lynnea Benson and Ted Zerkowski and their Frog and Peach Theater Company. And a part of my error in putting up the wrong Frog and Peach, I think it ended up being, as you mentioned, a restaurant somewhere. So the
That's
real
wrong. Yeah.
it's the Frog and Peach Theater Company.
Yeah.
Check them out on Facebook, on Instagram, and everywhere else. And Lynnea, it's a pleasure chatting with you. And
You too.
hopefully we get to catch up once this thing ends with the resumption of As You Like It.
I'd like to tell you all about our approach to Shakespeare, which you asked everybody else about. You didn't ask me about, which is
Uh, we have
approach
one
is very
second left.
unique.